Okay, here we are. We got this 1997 Cadillac. It's having some problems running smoothly. It's got a misfire code, random misfire, and it has stalled a couple times. And one time it was kind of hard to start, so it took 3 ignition cycles before it started. So it's just starting to have this problem, and it also hesitates going up the grade. This is engine startup. So not too bad. I mean, it still starts good. Engine's a little rough. I can feel it missing every now and then. And the engine RPM, you can see it moving around quite a bit. Alright, now maybe you can hear the engine kind of missing every now and then. You can see the engine RPM fluctuating. Oh, there was a good miss. Went all the way down to 500. Just getting on the freeway here. So it runs out good. Plenty of RPMs. Alright, it's popping through the intake. I don't know if you heard that, but that was a little pop. So it just had some popping through the intake. Sometimes it clears up right after that happens and it runs fine. Okay, let's look at the fuel pressure measurement. On this column here I got a hot test, and here I got a warm test. So basically it's running about 40 psi, except for when you go up the grade it's running a little higher, which is good because with the vacuum off on it, it gets a little higher. Now here's my spec. I think it's 35 to 45, so I'm right in there. And then I did a little test down here where we pulled the vacuum hose off of the regulator, and it got up to 48 psi, and then when you put the hose back on it goes down to 40. So it seems to be acting normally as far as the fuel pressure regulator. And then we did another test down here where we blocked off the outlet to the regulator to see what the fuel pump's actually capable of, and we got about 70 psi. So it's fully capable of producing the kind of pressures that we need, and 40 looks like about a solid 40 psi is right about where we're at, and that's what we'd expect to be. We replaced the crank position sensors on this vehicle. You can see how they're kind of magnetized, but yeah, these things go right in the front of the engine on this North Star, so like right above the oil filter. So if you go down here, actually you get at it from underneath the vehicle, just like getting at the oil filter. So you take the oil filter off and you take that aluminum bracket that holds the oil filter. You take that off, you can get to these things. And there's 2 of them and they're identical. So I guess you could mix and match them, but I kept track of the wires to make sure I put the wires on the right ones. But we put them in and it didn't help this problem. It still has the problem just the same, so it didn't help at all. The spark plug wire turned out to be the problem. Actually, I replaced them all, so I imagine there was more than one cylinder because we had a random misfire. And I don't know if you can see this, but right down inside the tube here on the end, there's a trail, there's a path where I can see by looking down in it that the spark was traveling right up that tube, and I have evidence on the spark plug that shows that it was traveling right down the spark plug to the base of the spark plug where it grounds out, you know, the metal part of the spark plug. So it's definitely a short circuit path there. So what it was is this cylinder here, number 4, I think was the culprit, and number 2 right next to it looked really bad too. So these two may have been randomly misfiring, causing the 0300 code to be set. As soon as we replaced all these plug wires front and back, thing runs beautiful, nice and smooth now, no misfires. What I did here is I took the coil pack off here and I moved it up so I could get at the wires in the back to work on them. I also had to take this part off too, some kind of vacuum operated solenoid. So it gave me plenty of room to work back there, and it's not too difficult to do it once you take those parts off. Okay, I'm real happy the Cadillac's running good now. Man, it was just a few weeks there where it was running bad and I couldn't figure out what the problem was, but so happy that it's running good and smooth. And it was just the spark plug wires.